Welcome to another round of Snarky Bites, a bite-sized version of Snarky Faith Radio. You can find more out about Snarky Faith Radio at www.snarkyfaith.com. But onward to the Snarky Bites. Here we go. Well, friends, Romans, countrymen, YouTubers, any other miscellaneous people that I didn't include in that entire list, lend me your ears. And what I wanted to talk about with you today is the way that we talk about stuff online. When it comes to it, and I specifically want to talk about gun violence and the conversation that's surrounding that. Because what I've noticed is in situations like this one, anything that's super divisive, that's, you could say, political, religious, or taste in music, I don't know, but something that is super divisive, which seems to be only politics and religion. When we talk about those things, what tends to happen is you tend to get one side that says, no, this is it, and the other side that says, no, this is it. And what begins to happen is we begin to entrench ourselves and separate ourselves, and it just moves further and further away, and then it gets to the point where there is no way that we can have reasonable discourse or dialogue about the subject. And when it comes to what has been going on lately in America and around the world with all of this gun violence, with all this terrorism, but specifically in America, we are seeing shootings happening almost every week now. And what I begin to ask myself is, what do we do about that? And I know for my friends that are the people that get super excited when you say the words NRA, my gun-toting, gun-loving friends, I first of all love you guys, but what I begin to see on social media is not very helpful. I remember seeing someone posted this thing that said, well, if we ban guns, that'll work. Flippantly, it was kind of a flippant thing, because that's what we've seen with heroin and cocaine. And what I want to enter into this conversation today is that how do we actually go about a dialogue on this subject? How do we find answers? Because the problem continues to happen. People continue to shoot people, and people that are innocent continue to die. And I feel like these weird discourses, especially like the one with the drugs, don't make any sense. I mean, those are completely straw man arguments that people like to project, and they don't really ever accomplish anything besides puffing yourself up and making you feel intelligent, which is why you found somebody else's meme and posted it on Facebook like it was your own. Like, take that one, for example, saying that somehow, since we have outlawed drugs in this country, outlawing guns would kind of go the same way, because if you know the right guy, you can score some of this out of the other. But what I want to say is those two topics are just completely different discussions, all in themselves. And think about this. Like, do you ever have like people that are like that? Oh no, like some guy runs into an office party and starts shooting everybody up with heroin. Or you run down the street and start throwing cocaine at people because somehow that'll all get them high at once. No, when we talk about drugs and those issues, that's more of a personalized issue that's going on. Somebody makes a choice to do that, and it harms usually themselves. But when we talk about guns, it's not simply people running around and shooting themselves, which is what we would rather have all of these terrorists do. Hey, just save the bullet, just shoot yourself. No, what happens is all these other people get drug into the mix. Now, I know, my NRA buddies would out there say, hey, what about the Second Amendment? Hey, I get that. I get it. But what I want to ask you here, in the hopes of finding some sort of rational answers, is what do we do? All I've really heard so far in response to that simply is, well, the right people need to have guns. But rarely have we seen in history that somehow violence plus violence equals peace. Like, that equation doesn't usually work. So I think more people having guns doesn't necessarily mean that's going to fix the problem of what's going on. I mean, there's a deep issue. There's a deep-rooted, seated issue here that is going on, and I think that the way we're talking about it, nothing gets accomplished. And even the sad thing is, if anybody begins to ask people, especially the entrenched ones, really, well, why do you believe that? what tends to happen, and it's really, really sad, is that you either agree with them or you're not their friend anymore. And it's really funny. I mean, you see this in religious arenas, you see this in political arenas, and it's somehow that like the prerequisite for friendship is that I need to agree with you. And if not, we don't hold that same standard of ability between like accountability for like, hey, do you like pizza? No, I don't like pizza. Oh, you're not my friend anymore. No, like in other areas of life, we don't do that to people. We enjoy people having a variety of opinions. Someone likes this movie, someone likes this music, and you may not. That's okay. You don't typically eliminate friendship over that. But when it comes to these religious and political issues, they are so incredibly divisive. And so what I'm asking for the gun-toting folks out there, what are some reasonable, real answers that we can bring to the table? I would love to have a discussion around that, to begin to end the violence that we have going on right now. I don't think it's arming the cops with bigger and better guns, because we've seen that not go down too well in a lot of cities across the country, especially if you have a little bit of skin pigment that's darker than mine, which is probably most people. No, and you begin to see other areas to where, like, I know Australia has banned guns, and what happened is they banned guns, and you see mass shootings go down. Again, I go back to the fact saying is I know the Second Amendment, to many of you, was probably the amendment that was left out of the Ten Commandments. It was like the 11th commandment, which is the Second Amendment. So change my mind. Tell me how I should be thinking. Tell me how to do this differently. We have mass shootings. We have too many guns in the streets. We have lots of people dying, lots of innocent people dying. And I'm not doing this to throw it in your face. I actually want to start a dialogue. So somehow to be able to bridge those two gaps between these two sides, what are progressive steps we can do together to move forward to begin to stop the violence that is happening in our world today? So that's my question for you. I would love to dialogue more with you. I would love to listen to you. And I want to hear what you have to say. And thanks so much. Out of here.